What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of your favorite podcast, the Why Not Us podcast.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
We're back.
We're back. We're glad you're here.
Yes.
I'm glad you're here. I think Sin's glad you're here.
So glad y'all here.
You know what I'm saying? I'm you know what I'm saying? And it feels good to be here.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm happy that you guys have like stuck with us through this whole journey and getting to this episode. And like, you know, I hope you're feeling like new, good, like New Year's energy, New Year vibe, New Year like mindset. You know what I'm saying? Like
clearing everything out,
exactly.
Decluttering.
I know you're ready for 2025 and getting like locked in. You know, I respect that. I hope you got that good motivation that you need to get through the year. And don't just stop in January, but if you do, it's okay.
It's okay. But keep going.
Lock in. Keep going. You fall, get back up, lock in. That's my little motivational speech before we start.
I love the motivational speech.
You know.
Gotta love it.
You know. If you're new here to the podcast, one of the first things we do is check in with each other. We do some highs and lows. So what we're going to do, we're going to start with a low and we're going to end on a high because we always end off on a positive note. Would you like to go first or I could?
Okay, so I guess my low... I recently just lost another loved one, so that's a little bit of a low, a lot of bit of a low, but it's okay, because, you know, continue just to strengthen our family and keeping us all, around each other, and that, you know, things like that happen, and what really counts and what really matters is, you know, keeping the people that's supporting you and having your back in your circle. So it's sad, but also I know that I have my family.
That's good.
And that's all right. My high would be getting and receiving some early Christmas presents. And that made me super excited. And I'm really happy with them. And it just made me feel like a kid. I love Christmas. Not for the gifts, but when people think about you and they put meaning and intention behind the gifts. It's always good. Is that
your favorite holiday?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I'm definitely a Christmas person.
Yeah.
You know, give me all the carols, give me all the music. I take the weather too.
I like looking at the snow.
I'm not being in it.
I just don't want to be in it.
Okay.
You know? Okay. It's very pretty. The aesthetic is very aesthetic.
I'm with all that. Give me all the snow.
Well, you know what? I do like occasional making snow angels and having little snowball fights. That's fun. What about you? What was some of your lows and highs?
I think my low, I guess if you want to call it a low, is just like just time management. I feel like, man, like I truly feel like there's not enough hours in the day, and I never really felt that way until like recently. And like when I'm trying to like do stuff or get things together and like, you know, maneuver and do things, balancing being a creative with regular work and regular life and regular relationships is just like, now I really feel like, it's not enough time for everything.
Need that balance.
And so it's been a low, kind of having come to that realization. My high is I don't know. Through it all, kind of a weird way, I feel like the less time I have is kind of motivating me to create more.
I love that.
It's kind of weird because I feel like once my time clears up, I probably would be like, now I have so much time. So if I can create while I don't have time, imagine when I do have time, what's going to happen? I just hope I can keep that discipline and keep that going. I seen a quote too. They was like, you know, discipline over motivation. Because motivation fluctuates all the time.
It does. Yes.
You might not feel motivated, you might not feel inspired all the time, but discipline is doing it regardless of how you feel.
Yep.
So, that goes into my high. Basically, is like, you know, I've been feeling kind of a little bit disciplined, a little bit motivated, like just trying to just change some things, rebrand some things, create some things. And, it's been kind of cool.
I love that. It's like to me, that's like a challenge. You know, you're challenging yourself and trying to give yourself like these prompts. Like, okay, I have about 30 minutes. What can I squeeze in these? Or I have 20 minutes. What can I squeeze in? And that's really cool.
For sure. For sure. All right.
Now that we checked in with each other, what's next?
So we about to dive into a nice little segment, my favorite segment, called The Icon in the Eye.
I love that segment.
Bro, I love the reception people feel like being nominated.
Yes.
Because it's truly a special honor, but the way people react to it makes me feel like, wow, like it's really cool.
Yeah.
Like it really is a special honor, just like, you know, giving you your flowers and your props, and like, you know, you're doing your thing, you've been snapping, you've been out here as a creative is really hard, and there's a lot of like unrecognizable nights, or like just like you do a lot with not a lot of praise, not a lot of things. You put a lot of work behind things, and a lot of people don't recognize you until you up. We want to say we see you.
Yep.
We see you.
We see you, and it's just really cool that people have been using it kind of like as in like adjective, or like, you know, kind of being like, who's next icon of the eye. It's really, really cool to see that we're just two like people in the world that really thought something of this magnitude to do, and we really didn't put much thought really into. We put thought and intention into it, but we didn't really think the impact that it's having on community, on, you know, Black creators, on creators period, and just to see how they're receiving it, it means so much to us. So we're gonna keep doing it, of course, and we can't wait to see who you see as our next icon of the eye.
Come on now.
So who you got?
All right, I'll go first. All right, so my icon in the eye this week is Kimbrella.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
So, you know what I'm saying? She is somebody that I've always seen like her skills and talent, and I'm like, yo, she gonna be something. Like she's gonna be big. Like you know what I'm saying? And like she just dropped a music video and a song called Indecisive at the time of recording, and we checked it out. We watched it, and it's just like her creative process is definitely fire, and it's like the way that she does things and put it together. I don't know like what team's behind her. I don't know like, you know, the whole process behind it, but the outcome I know is great.
Amazing.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
It's heat.
It's dead right. And she's not like somebody that like, all right, they know how to do music or whatever. She can actually rap.
She can really rap.
She can actually rap, and she be doing her thing. So I'm gonna give my props and my shout out to Kimbrella. Like, shout out to you. And you always, for me, I've always been impressed. Like,
no, she's me too. Like, she's cool. Like, she's someone who I'm like looking for the music. I'm like, I need a whole collection to put on a playlist because I love it. I love women rappers,
right?
Especially who can rap really well, and like you could tell their skill. Like, they really do be writing their own raps, or like you can really, really tell. So
when the album dropping.
Come
so like I say.
Come on.
All right, who's your icon guy?
So I have someone I actually went to school with. Her name is Ayana, and she actually has a podcast. And this podcast is really, really special because the title of her podcast is Black Girl with Sickle Cell Podcast.
That's pretty cool.
And I think that's really dope. Like, I've known her for such a long time, and she does battle with sickle cell. And it really is, number one, really cool to see someone highlight such a specific thing, but also to talk about it and to have like episodes and to have this curiosity, or like make people want to be curious about something like that. I think that's just to me, that's so cool. And I have taken a listen to a couple. Her podcast is really, really cool. And I think it's actually inspiring, not only just to have a podcast in general and to be a Black woman, but to highlight really important, specific, like health conscious things, but also just doing a day-to-day thing, just being a girl and highlighting what that's like while battling with something. And I wouldn't even say battling. I would just say living through that and thriving in it as well. So, you know, I've checked a couple of them out. She just has some just speaking about, you know, traveling with sickle cell and working while having sickle cell, So I just think there's a community and a need for that. Yeah. I'm always looking for people that want to feel a need and a want for something that's missing in the world. So that's why she's my icon of the eye. I think that's really cool. Really special. Fire. Shout out to you.
Shout out to her.
Yeah.
1000%. That's fire. I like that, like, you know what I'm saying, that something that most people would take as like a situation and like just live their life with it. But she is like, you know, taking something and then creating something out of it, creating like art out of it, like creating like creativity out of it. So I think that's fire. Yeah. Definitely. I think that's fire.
It's motivational to me. I'm like, that's something profound. I don't really see that often, to be quite honest. So shout out to you.
Shout out to her for sure.
Yeah.
All right. So now we're about to dive into our main topic of the evening.
Yes.
And we really want to talk about creativity and mental health. And I think this is something that is very prevalent in our community, but it is also something that's very like overlooked and not talked about and not like really looking at the realities of it. I think a lot of times artists, creators, business owners will put their product, whatever they're producing or their actual product, over themselves.
That's right.
Too often. And I think there has to be a line drawn where like it's hard because a lot of people become their art, but you are not your art.
No.
You are just a vessel for your art to come through.
Yep, that's right.
So like a lot of times people just do too much and like, you know, put their all in, but just not taking steps back for themselves. Right. They're reading comments and really taking it to heart. They're like, you know, just not getting the results they want and they're just looking at themselves like, oh, maybe something wrong with me. I mean, I don't know. They're losing hope. They're getting depressed. Like literally.
Yeah.
I think this is something that's super important.
It is.
And I'm glad we're like here talking about it.
Yeah. Listen, it's extremely important. I think a lot of us, you know, creatives, people who just have ideas, even working people, we sometimes look at ourselves as like these engines. Yeah. Like, you know, like running and want to do a million things for, you know, our business, of course, for others, of course, for other like collaboration, you know, as far as endeavors like that. And I think that becomes really unhealthy. It becomes obsessive almost, you know, to where you want to have this perfectionistic view of what your work looks like to people and what it looks like to you. And that can become really unhealthy.
Very unhealthy.
I think. So I'm glad that we are also talking about this topic. It's very needed for you and I and for everyone watching.
Literally.
Yeah. So let's delve into some things as far as mental health and working in your creative space.
All right. So when I think about like mental health and creativity, I think one of the biggest things, I touched on it a little bit and we'll go into it, is feedback. And I think art is just so precious and just so creativity is so precious. And I just think that it's like I say it all the time, like it's like your little baby. Like whatever you created, you spent so much time with it and work on it, and then you're just giving it to the world for whatever happens.
And the world
might eat it up, takes it. It might just tear it down. It might just tear you down, and it's such a delicate process that I don't think people really think about it when they are critiquing art.
No.
And I'm not saying that they shouldn't critique your art. I think art is meant to be critiqued. It's meant to be judged. It's meant to be interpreted, consumed.
Yeah.
But I think like no one thinks about the artist or no one thinks about the creator when they're looking at the product.
Right.
What was their mindset? What's their mindset now?
Right.
I know for me, when I'm creating, it's I would hope to say I'm better. But let's say when I create certain things and I put it out to the world, I don't get on my phone. I don't look at it. I kind of like, especially if it's something like really personal, like the visual poems I did.
Right.
I don't want to see any notifications. I don't want to see any feedback. I kind of just want to forget that it happened.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is. Yeah. I don't know if it's like, am I scared of the reaction or do I like...
It's like a little anxiety, a little bit. Like, it's like, okay, whether it's good or whether it's bad, you don't want to look at it.
I don't know where it stems from, but I definitely do not look at my phone when I just drop something. And I know some people are probably like that too, with like their music or like with a new product or maybe a new painting. Like, I know like they just throw it out there and just be like, all right, something else.
Yeah.
Focus on something else.
Yeah. And also sometimes it's hard. Not for a lot of people, but it's hard sometimes to look at your work. Yeah. It's like through your lens. I want to sometimes look at it through another person's lens and go, okay, well, if I was that person, what did I take from my art? When you look at it so personable, you do have that, turn my phone off, turn it over. I don't want to look because you have you in it. But like you said before, when you're sometimes a lot of the times you are far removed from the topic, the situation, the song, the film, whatever. And you're just like, I'm just putting it out to the world and I'm letting it go.
Yeah.
You're putting out and letting it flow and letting it
go.
Let it go.
Moving on.
And to me, that's the best thing when it comes to feedback. Because whether it's good or bad, I still want to know that you don't have to, even though we're saying, look at the creator, I don't think it's important to always tell the creator, always go back and tattle or, critique or say this or that. Just let it go. Review their art. See what it was like making the art. I guess it's just more thought-provoking opposed to personally telling them. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think sometimes when you think about what that artist did to do that art opposed to being like, oh, I like that you did this or I didn't like that you did that. Either way, that's anxiety filled. Sometimes just think about what that artist did or how hard they worked in there. More thought-provoking.
Do you ever feel like when you're creating art, do you ever feel like the anxiety kind of subsides a little bit or does it go away a little bit or will it's always there? I think personally, I feel like it might be a case by case basis.
It is.
So I guess I can't, I guess you speak for yourself and I'll speak for myself.
I think for me, the beginning of the process of making it put nerves in me. The end also put nerves, once I put it out into the world. But the middle, is something about that middle process. When I'm in the middle, I have my groove going on. I know what I'm talking about. It's not just a blank canvas anymore. Or it's not out yet. It's that middleman for me. That's when I'm the least nervous or anxiety filled because I'm I know what I'm doing. And I still have it. I'm not scared to do it. I'm not scared to delve into it. But I still have it in my hands without people knowing about it yet. So the beginning for me and then the end.
Okay.
Also case by case.
Yeah, it's definitely case by case. I think for me, it's not beginning. It's probably middle and end. So sometimes when I'm in it, I think about the finish line before I'm even there. I'm like, will this hit? Will they get it? Should I change this? Should I edit this differently? I'm already thinking about the reception before I'm even done with it, which I don't know if that's healthy or not, but I'm will they get it? Will they not get it? Will it be funny? Will it not be funny? Will the film be good? Will it not be good? I'm already thinking about reception. I'm even going to the point where I'm I don't know what this is, but sometimes I will watch what I'm making or watch what I made. Maybe it's finished already. It's just not out. And I'm watching it through the lens of someone else. I don't know if this sounds crazy.
No, that's what I was just talking about. But being in the lens, not within yourself. Sometimes it's okay. That's why I would say sometimes I like to remove myself out of my art and step inside that and another person's point of view. Because
I don't know how many times you might see me watch something. You might hear the sounds all over again, or watch a skit, or watch whatever I might create, or whatever somebody might create. I'm just watching it. And sure, I'm looking for improvements. I'm looking for it to get better. I'm looking, but then I'm all right, so what if someone who doesn't know me, what if they just watch this randomly? And I'm what do they think about this? I'm kind of in a whole different zone.
Yeah, there's that too. There's the questions because then at some point I'll go I just want to start over. Actually, that was trash. I didn't like it. Why did I say that? Why did I feel that? I feel apprehensive a little bit about something I felt so strongly about in the beginning. And then the questions hit and it becomes this apprehensive, this unsure place. And that's a weird feeling. Yeah. And that's just, to me, that comes with nerves. That comes with a little bit of questions. And that's with the feedback. That feedback is a never-ending cycle. You're never going to get rid of feedback. Feedback is going to always happen. Comments are going to always be there. Someone's going to always have something to help you grow or just whatever. But to silence the noise, how do you try to figure out how to silence something that's never going to end?
You don't. You just got to learn to live with it, or just learn to lessen the value of it. Yeah. So it sounds kind of weird, but let's say if somebody is dissing you and they're coming up to you, they're like, oh man, Rahmere, your breath stink and you can't dress, right? The words that they said, I know, right? It's kind of crazy, but the words that they said are pretty harsh, right? But deep down in that, you can find somewhere you can change. Right? I'm like, all right, maybe I should focus on hygiene a little more.
Wait, what?
No, but like, think about it.
Wait,
no,
what?
Listen. The words that they might have said, the reaction, the words that they're saying might be a little harsh. They might be like, oh man, this sucks. It might be harsh. But like, look at it and just like forget what they're actually saying and look at what they're saying or look at why they're saying it. So just like, all right.
Okay, to piggyback off of that, I'm trying to make it more like put a creative conversation because that is either that's either a fact or a lie. Yeah, you can't say fact or a lie when it's creativity. Creativity or someone's art is polarizing, so it's either you like it or you don't. And if you don't like it, then that's not for you. If you like it, then it's for you. So if someone says something to make a comment about you or with your art rather, and they go, well, I like it, but I didn't like how it ended.
Right.
Okay.
That's their opinion.
But what do you take from? You don't take anything. You just receive their comment. Yeah. You get what I'm trying to say? Yeah. There's not anything that you can't alter the ending.
So like you can take that and like maybe you look at the ending of your next project or maybe you pay more attention to it or maybe you think the ending was fire and their comment doesn't matter to you because you know who you are. Really, I think at the end of the day, like when it comes to like anxiety or when it comes to feedback, it's really rooted in who you are and your identity. And if you know who you are as a creator, no one can knock you down, right? Yeah. And they're not attacking you. It's just, right? Yeah. Or like literally, like I know the art is your baby. I know it's like, oh man, I put so much work into this. But like at the end of the day, people will literally, you are presenting this gift to the world, this art to the world. Yes. And anybody can say whatever they want to it, but you just can't take offense to it and try not to let it get to you because you're giving it to the world for opinions and reactions. True. And not everyone's going to like what you did. Not everyone's going to like what you wear. Not everyone's going to like how it looks, what your art looks like and what your music sounds like. And no one's, bro, I think I heard a saying before, like the whole world is like ice cream or like something like that where, you know, let's say you put it out to the world and you put vanilla ice cream out to the world and everybody like vanilla. That's boring. Not everybody likes vanilla. Maybe I like strawberry and I'm expecting strawberry when you gave me this art and I'm like, this is true. I like strawberry.
This is true.
If everybody likes vanilla, it's pretty boring. But I think one of the biggest things that like a big question is like, why do we put so much pressure on ourselves in the situations like this? Like, I feel like the main root of anxiety when it comes to art is pressure, right? Whether it comes from us, whether it comes from expectations from the world, whether it comes from, let's say you made a project and then you're like, all right, now the next one gotta be just as big. Right. Like, where does this pressure come from and how do we like maneuver in that?
Just gotta live through it. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure people have their ways in how to limit their anxiety. But I think it's just to continue to keep going. The more you keep going and growing, with age comes a sort of relaxed like state of I am who I am. My art is what my art is. Like this is what it is. And with age and growing in your art and in yourself, like the more you get confident in yourself and who you are and how you present yourself, the more your anxiety to me kind of levels out. You know, of course, everybody's going to have nerves. To me, if you're not nervous about something, you don't care about it enough.
I agree.
That's just something I've always lived by. Like the moment I don't have nerves is something I genuinely just don't feel that excited about. I don't care enough about it. So I think some sort of something has to be there, but it's how do we take it out of our heads? How do we not do it? How do we not over analyze ourselves? How do we not over analyze our project? How we kind of level out that anxiety is just kind of continuing to know that with every project we do, with every art thing we do, it should be lesser and lesser, right? Because it's hard. I mean, it's hard. I don't have the answers. I don't think there is a correct way, but just know that your art is your art. And with everything, you just have to take it in strides. When we if you go like, okay, I need this movie to be better than the next movie, you have to just take it in strides. Take it like one project at a time, one moment at a time.
Can't let them pile up on you. And
that's how you create anxiety for yourself, let alone the world already creating that anxiety for you. Why are you yet again making this anxiety feel a problem for you again? Just kind of take every project, everything, one stride at a time.
it's 1000% so much easier said than done, though.
No, of course.
I think being like the type of creator or person that I am is like I always want to do better the next time.
Of course.
Better myself each time, and like you know me, I will sit here and analyze. I watch my videos probably like no joke like
over and over
30 times before you guys even see them.
You have to.
And
you have to.
I'm literally like critiquing. I'm really like looking like, all right, maybe this could be better, or maybe the lighting should have been like this, and the sound ain't really like that, whatever. And I might drop myself a little bit, like kind of like in circles, kind of like trying to do better each time. But I, like you said, it's definitely easier said than done. But it's very important just to know like what does being better each time look like to you, right? Does it mean more views next time? Maybe that's what it looked like to you, right? But maybe it means I finished it faster, or I had a better peace of mind after I finished it, or, you know, I feel more at peace with my project than the last project. Like, you know, there's different metrics that you can add on that not necessarily numbers each time. You can't get caught up in numbers. Numbers is a whole other conversation when it comes to mental health.
Yeah, no, that's
but
different.
Like you can't get caught up in numbers. That's kind of
like feedback a little bit.
Yeah,
that comes with like feedback and commentary and numbers and likes and dislikes and people having opinions. But I agree. I think number one, when you are working, that is normal. That is completely normal to look at your work over and over, no matter what you're doing. I find myself doing that. You should just now. You find yourself doing that. I think the problem becomes when it's obsessive. More than normal.
Okay.
When it's, of course, like if you go to work and you do something an incorrect way, you want to find ways how to do it right and how to fix it and how to alter it and how to have a different version. So if that version messes up, you have another version. But when you start to obsessively overdo it and you find yourself not sleeping that well, not eating that well, and we're bringing in mental health things that happens within this world. And you just find yourself, not being a human, like a robot. You know, you find yourself just not taking in everyday life. Like imagine like every day, 24/7, you're at a computer. Like you're skipping meals and you're not, hanging out with your friends and people are checking on you and you just are obsessing over your art. That's when it becomes, to me, a little bit of a problem. Yeah. Right?
I agree. I agree. Like,
So,
it's literally what you said. Like, you are not a robot. You're not a machine. You're not a content making machine, as much as people, like, pride themselves on being consistent and continuing to just put out. It's like, bro, at the end of the point, bro, you're going to be empty. And, like, it's like, sure, be consistent, but do not lose yourself. Be a human. Have human relationships, have human connections. Yeah. Like, take a break. Like, if you just, any machine, any piece of equipment, if you use it and use it and use it and use it, you keep driving your car, you keep just I don't know, anything, like you keep playing a radio, things wear down and break. What makes you think you are different?
Yeah. Can I interject real quick? I feel like, I don't know if you ever heard this before, but I think the most overrated quote I've heard is sleep is for the weak, or sleep is for, they say sleep is for the dead, or we don't need to sleep, need to work. And this whole thing of not sleeping or risking your actual health for the benefit of your creativity. That's such an unhealthy mindset.
I think it's better ways to motivate people than that.
Yeah, that's actually not, that's not productive. You're telling people to risk their sleep just to do something that people can see and it can get numbers and it can get views and you can be successful. What is the success? What good is the success if you're not there to see it?
Right.
You have to be here to see your art. You want to be here. So you want to make sure you're maintaining your mind, body, soul, friendships, relationships intact. I think that God gave us gifts and talents for a reason. And we have to know that's what we have, but also to not misuse it, to not overuse it. You still want to have them, right? You still want to have all these skill sets. What happens if you overuse them? If you overwork your body? Your body becomes no good. Your talents and your skills become no good. How are you going to help people.
Right.
And, that was a rant.
Best?
That was a rant. I'm sorry.
No, you got there, though. You can, how do you give your best if you're not your best?
Yeah.
How can you give your best to your art, to your audience, if you're not even your best? And I'm not, it's just, you got to find that balance of just, I know people who just think about content all the time.
Yeah.
And on one side, you're locked in.
Ideas.
You're locked in. You're focused. There's nothing wrong with being focused. But even the best athletes, the strongest athletes in the world have an off day.
They live life.
Have a rest day.
Live life.
NBA has an off season. NFL has an off season.
That's right.
There is off seasons. No one does everything 365 days a year.
You can't be on all day.
No.
You have no room for a reset, a restart. You have no room for it. So I think it's very unhealthy. I think that it's not human. And I don't know who gives advice like that. I hope people, I think that's a toxic
it's definitely a toxic mindset for sure. It's get to the grind.
You ever see those motivational videos on Instagram and stuff like that or TikTok? And I think that's become a trend over the years. People feel like I don't know why people feel like they're running out of time. I mean, time is precious, but listen, your art is forever. Your art lives on. So just, create as much as you can. Create with intention. Because when you find yourself rushing, that's when you start to create, it becomes unnatural.
You won't be proud of it.
No, it becomes rushed.
You become a shell of yourself. How many artists have you seen, when they put out their second album, you're like,
so many.
This could have been in the oven a little longer.
It's a little undercooked.
This is what you came with?
Right.
It's definitely you won't be able to produce your best if you're not your best.
That's right.
Put yourself first. You're not your art. You're just a vessel for your art to just give birth to live to, and to live into the world. And everyone will have anything to say about your art and about whatever you put forth. You just got to know, just don't take it personal. Just let it be an opportunity to look at what you created and be all right, maybe they may got a point. Maybe look at it this way, or maybe they just a hater. And you just know all right, man, okay, just keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
Don't ever take it as an attack on you, because that's what a lot of people do, and that's dangerous. It's tough.
Yeah. I will also say, be there for you. We are talking about mental health, so it's okay to take that rest day, what you were just referencing. But actually putting that in motion, we have planners and calendars and Google you put certain important dates in your calendar. Prioritize yourself. Put that in your calendar. Take an off day or take a walk or a hike, whatever, family time, friend time. Prioritize that. Sometimes we might spend time with our family and friends. It might be off the cuff. It's not, sometimes prioritize. The same way you prioritize your work, prioritize your family and your friends and just self. So take care of self.
No, literally. It's your number one fan.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Make sure they good before you worry about your audience, really, because they deserve your best self, really. Yeah. At the end of the day.
This is true.
Yeah. So I think just the wrap, it was really good.
It was really good. I'm proud of us.
That's a really important topic, and I think we can talk a lot about it, because it's definitely something that we both went through and passionate about, and things that it's not easy. It's definitely not easy. And I think when we'll talk about this in another topic, I think when people look at creators, they don't think about that part, or when they just start to become creators, they have no hindsight about that. Yeah. And they just take everything to heart and literal, and they give up really quickly, or they change for the sake of, everyone else.
That part.
You have to be your number one fan. You have to take care of you. Literally. Care of you. Yeah.
I like that. We did that.
All right. So to end this podcast, we're going to hit y'all with something called the Final Five, which is just 5 words to just leave you with, for you to meditate on, think about, tell somebody else about. Just 5 words. They can be 5 individual words. It can be a sentence, a phrase, however. We're just going to leave you with our Final 5.
Yep. Okay, so my Final 5 is start small, not at 100.
Okay.
And I think I didn't even... Well, we knew what the topic was today, but I didn't even really put it together really like that to just know that hit the head on the nail for the topic today. That means a lot of things to a lot of people, but specifically to me, I think it just means you don't always have to start at perfect. You don't always have to start at giving 1,000% of yourself, of having the perfect things, the perfect equipment, whatever it is. You can start small and just kind of keep encouraging yourself to continue on and to build up. I think that's really important. So I feel like I'm talking like in twofold. So on one aspect for your creativity and for your business, you don't have to have the best of everything.
Yeah.
But also on a personal note and on a mental health note, to kind of make it full circle, you don't always have to be this super... Right, exactly. You don't have to be Mrs. Know-It-All, Mr. Know-It-All, have it all together. You can be authentic. We mess up sometimes. We have a lot of like times where we don't know what we're talking about. We have like little brain farts. It's okay to be silly. It's okay to not know everything and not come at your best all the time. So that's just my final 5. Start small, not at 100.
I like that.
Thank you.
I like that. That was a good one. And I think that specifically kind of spoke to me because a lot of times I like to start at 100.
Yeah.
And with like a lot of my work or a lot of my projects or things that I want to do, I'm like, yo, it should look like this. I've talked about this plenty of times, but even like this podcast, it was delayed because we wanted to start not small.
Yeah. We
didn't want to start small. So it's so crazy to think about like how many moments we could have had this year, or like how many people like could have heard it earlier or sooner, but you can't think about that. But it's still like, dude, you could be missing out on a lot of things if you're not going to start. Don't let the anxiety, fear, or just like not having things stopping you from starting, because you can always add on to it later on. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to elaborate on what you said.
No.
All right. My final 5 is, I know mine's is not, I feel like it's not as serious as yours, but it is.
No, it's fine.
My final 5 is have fun and take breaks.
I love that.
No,
that's really, really...
It's simple.
It's simple, but it's
straight
so
to the
profound.
point and very needed, because a lot of people take the fun out of their art and take the fun out of their creativity, and you just start doing it for results. You start doing it for money. You start doing it for numbers, attention, fame. You just start doing it for things that I feel like are the wrong reasons. You may have a justified reason why you feel like that's why you should be doing it. But I think at the very root of it, if you are not having fun, you will burn yourself out way quicker.
Yep.
Like, you gotta be able to have fun and take breaks. Remember that, like we said, you're not a machine. You're not just a content making machine over and over. Like, have fun and take breaks. Make it fun. You like painting, right? Like, you got into it because it's something you're good at, and it's fun to create something out of nothing. And don't be afraid to take breaks. And I think the connotation of breaks is definitely people like, oh, if you're taking a break, it's like you're falling off. Right. You people won't forget you. Right. Like, I don't know who came up with that. Find the fun again.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Have fun, take breaks.
I like that a lot, because I've always heard this saying, like, when it's the moment it's not fun anymore, you shouldn't be doing it. No. And as far as taking the actual break, how are you going to get inspired? How are you going to get re-inspired? You never will if you don't go and live life and have fun. So I really like that you said that. It's very simple, but it's very profound. Yes. Very profound. Yes. Amazing.
All right. Well, I hope you guys have fun. I hope you guys have fun listening to us on the One Out of Us podcast. Yes. I know we have fun. We have a great time always talking about this. This is a really good topic. Yes. We really dove in and had some great conversations. I hope you were able to take something from this. Yeah. And tell somebody about it, and maybe man, these Why Not Us people are kind of they kind of know something. Yeah. Or they kind of inspired me, or they definitely gave me something I needed today. Right. That's what we do it for.
That's
really.
All. If you can take away something, one thing that we said, that's all. That's all that matters, because it means so much. If anything you don't get today, it's just that your mental health matters. So whatever that you can do, that you can find outside of your creativity, find your happy. Outside of your creativity, find your happy. Reach out to your resources and definitely just find your happy.
Find your happy. Follow us on our socials, and follow us on the Why Not Us Pod on Instagram for any updates or any sneak peeks. Who knows what we might put up on there.
And once again, this is For Creatives by Creatives. See you next time.
See ya.
Bye.